What's good, everybody? It's your boy Rio West, and we back with some more content, some more tutorial content. This one is special request. I was special requested to do this one. I didn't think anybody would really need like a tutorial to say so, but then again, I should have thought otherwise given it's a new system implemented, and that's kicking. Tutorial on kicking. Now, I still haven't fully completely mastered the kicking myself. Like I've had the kicking cost me a couple games. I've had the kicking also alter the way that I actually call plays, the way I call games when I'm driving down a field and I get to like the 40-yard line, 30-yard line, and it's like 4th and 5, 4th and 6. Majority of the time I'm trying to go for it, especially if I'm in another team's home territory, because it's even worse then. I don't like fooling with it because it could cost you. It can cost you, and it's cost me a couple games, or not necessarily cost me a couple games, but it's cost me in some crucial points. A combination of a few things. One, the meter moving after you get it in the red, after you've angled it and got the correct angle. And two, the hash marks. I'm not used to the hash marks just yet. Madden, the hash marks are so much more tighter, so you don't really have to aim too much further to the right or left, and you know where it's going. The position that cost me was, and it was like a 20-something yard field goal that cost me, but it was way over on the hash, and I thought I had it angled just right, but it wasn't angled enough, and he missed it wide left while I'm on the left hash. So, really, I just got to get used to my position on the field. I'm probably going to get on a practice field and practice it a few more times, but a few tips, things that I've learned. Well, one is the hash marks. You got to be aware of where you at and keep in mind that the hash marks are much wider than they are on Madden. So what you would think is angled right in college football 25, or what you would think is angled right in Madden, isn't in college football 25 because the hash marks are wider. Another thing that I noticed, I saw somebody say that you can kick, you just can't allow it to get in the red. That's wrong. From what I've observed and what I've noticed, you can allow it to get in the red. You can't allow it to get too far into the red. Or what do I mean by that? Now, I've had situations and instances just like other people once it's gotten in the red where the meter has started shaking and it'll just land in whichever direction that it'll land, and then you'll miss the field goal wide left or wide right. Now, I've also had an instance where I timed it just right to where it got just past the green and just at the beginning of the red, and it never sways. And I've tested and experimented this several times before, and every time it worked. If you time it just right to where it gets just past the green and just enters the red, the meter will not sway. But if you hold it just too long and it goes too far into the red, then the meter will sway, and that's where you're screwed. And I find that in hostile environments, other people's territory, that's when the kicking is the most difficult. But if you remember these things, the hash marks, and also when to let the meter get into the red or how far into the red to let the meter get, then you'll be just fine going forward. I can admit that I've gotten better and better as I've played more and more, but you always have to remember, and you just got to get used to it. So always remember the hash marks are wider. So what you would think would be normal, you got to overcompensate a little more and never allow the meter to get too far into the red. You can allow it to get in the red. You can't allow it to get too far into the red. But if you want to avoid that in totality, just don't allow it to get to the red. But it does give you that extra boost, that extra distance. So those are my pointers and my 2 cents on the whole kicking aspect of college football 25, and that's basically my tutorial. Like, there's not really much to it. You know what you have to do as far as when the meter's going back and forth side to side. You got to time it just right, and once you press A, you hold A, And that's what allows the kick meter, the power meter, to go up into the yellow, into the green, and then into the red. So when you're kicking, you make sure you time it just right when it's going side by side. And once you time it, once you press A, you hold A until the power gets to where you want it at, and then you can release it. So remember that. Press A where you want it, hold it so the power meter goes up. Keep in mind the hash marks are wider than it is on Madden, and never allow the meter to get too far into the red. And you should be good going forward. But that's about it. That's all I got for you with that. I'm probably going to do a tutorial on the passing, the new passing, the way it's set up, or at least a little breakdown or rundown on the passing. But that's all I got for y'all with this. Again, stay tuned. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do so. Hit that notification tab. I'm going to be posting a ton of content. I took a year off, but I'm back with a vengeance. College football is back. I'm back. The new Madden's dropping. I'm going to be dropping that content too, like I told you before. And we just going to keep this train rolling. So, again, I appreciate y'all tuning in, tapping in. And until next time, peace. After further review, don't let that meter hit the red at all. I guess I was going off of what I did on kickoffs versus actually kicking field goals. But after further review, I can promise you, do not let that touch the red at all. It is not a good idea. If you're ready to lose that game, go ahead and let it touch the red. But if you want to get yourself in a position to win, keep it in the green. Do not let it touch the red at all. And definitely do not let it go too far into the orangish, reddish areas on the sidebar. You want to keep it in the yellow, green, and then keep it in the green when you use the power meter. But that's it.